So for this one prompt I did today, I used Whimsical to break down the data into flowcharts. So we start with our code up here, and this is, again, all those packages that we have to download to be able to perform our code. Then we move into this if-else statement, where we're downloading the data from the save stock data from the CVS file, just for that alpha advantage data, so that way we're not running into the IP limits and we're not having to pay for an expensive subscription. But in this else if statement, we're saying that if we can fetch the data, then we're going to read and process that data, which is what's happening down here. We're defining the stock symbols and loading that stock data. But we're saying if we can't, then we're gonna print a no data found, and then we're just going to return nothing in that code. Then we jump down here where we compute the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. Then lines 31 to 38 are plotting stock prices with stock prices and volume. So actually, that's including 31 to 43. Then we're going to have another if-else statement where we are going to fetch the treasury yield data curve. And before we even get into our else if statement that's based on the number of maturities, we're already pulling that data. We're cleaning that data up right here. Then down here, we're saying if the maturity labels can be pulled, then okay, let's go ahead, pull that data so that we can process the yield curve. But if not, let's pop another error message in this code. Then line 65 to 73, we're plotting that treasury yield curve, which is what that whole if-else statement was doing the data to, was what the whole if-else statement was pulling the data for. Then line 75 to 81 is that function to fetch the inflation data. ChatGPT said that it used the if-else statement, but when I look at the code, I don't see the if-else. I don't see the if and the else, but I believe this is an if-else statement where they just write it in one big statement instead of writing out if-else and putting all those extra codes of line. And all that 75 to 81 is saying that if we can pull the data, then we're going to pull the inflation data so that way we can start processing the inflation data. So that way we can come down here and plot the inflation data with the recession periods. But if not, we're just going to print off an error warning to the user and end the code. And that is the end of this code.